All right, good day, authors, book lovers, and storytellers. Welcome to another session here in Readers Magnet's featured author interview. My name is Leah, and I will be your host for today. And with me is one of the Readers Magnet's featured author, and of course, are one of the most valuable author we have. And today, we are very honored and happy that we are given the chance to know him being an author, what this book is all about, and of course, what is the inspiration behind him writing this book. So, yes, everyone, let's all welcome Mr. Reginald Andah, author of the book A New Dawn. Yes, hi, Reginald. How are you doing?
I'm okay. It's good to be here, and I'm excited to reach out to everyone and tell them how I got this book idea for it.
Right, right. And you know what, Reginald, I'm also very excited to have this discussion with you right now because I've been hearing a lot of positive things, good things coming from your consultant and of course your project managers. It was really coming from Nicole and Liz that, you're one of the let's say author who's really dedicated to their book, especially when it comes to sharing your story to among as many people as possible, and we're all very glad that we're already part of that journey. Thank you so much for that, Reginald.
You're welcome.
Yes. So here, before we start tackling and discussing about your book, we wanted to know first who Mr. Reginald Anda is. So yep, can you give us a bit of information about that?
So I come from pretty much humble backgrounds. My mom, single mom, and I had to pretty much become a man at an early age because she's going through
Mm.
her own struggles, and I had to be there for her. And then she later on had my brother. So in high school, I was basically, going to school, working a job, and trying to support the both of them. But at the same time, I wanted a future for myself. So I ended up going to college. When I finished my undergraduate college, uh, I figured out that, my brother was in a foster home and my mom was in serious health conditions. So I had to, step up, raise my brother. He's thankfully in college now. And with the book idea, it's how I discovered how I wanted to write because while I was in college, I had an electrical engineer program, just to make money.
Mm.
But then, I had this sort of, I guess you can say, epiphany, in college. And I was sitting in a classroom and I was just like, is electrical engineering really the thing I want to do for the rest of my life? Or do I just want to be here because it makes money? Um, and then that's when I found out, because I discussed it with my uncle and he said,
Mm.
why don't you just become a writer? And he said this because, when I was a kid, I would usually, write poetry, and then those poetries turned into songwriting, and that's how I got into songwriting as well, like online, because I have a few music online as well. And I took my
Mm.
uncle's advice, and I never thought about it because I always wrote short stories or story ideas, or sometimes even journals just to write down what I was going through.
Mm.
He's read some of it, and it just never came to mind to actually become a writer because of it. And then that's when I did a short story. I took a creative writing class in college, and it ended up I really ended up enjoying it. And everyone there, they were very supportive. And reading the different stories and different ideas kind of made my own creativity come to life. So yeah, that's
Mm.
how I got started on this writing career. And now I'm doing a master's class and hoping to make more of it. So
Wow, that's really a fascinating story, Reginald. From that early experience you had as a child to really stepping up to also help out your family, especially with your mom that is also going on through something, but with the help and the support coming from your uncle, and also pushing you to really, be in this platform right now. And it's actually a good thing because I really like the support coming from the family member itself. And you know what? That story is exactly one of the reason why this book is very interesting, Reginald. And yes, this is the moment that we've been waiting for because we're very excited as well to know more about your book. What is this all about? And yep. So here, before we do that, do you have your book with you right now? Can you show it to our viewers?
yes, I do. Book titled A New Dawn.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you have it, guys. All right. And here, I wanted to start with the title, Reginald, A New Dawn. Can you tell us more about that? What is this book is all about, and how did it start it?
So how this book started, it was very interesting because I was looking for jobs, especially
Mm-hmm.
during COVID. Everything got hard. I got laid off by a previous job, and I was unemployed. So I was looking for different type of writing jobs I can do. Then this one opportunity opened up online, and they just wanted a pitch, basically a first chapter of a story idea. If the story idea, worked out, if you won, because it was a competition between a whole bunch of writers. If you won, they would have actually given you a job position at their company.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote the idea of this same book, chapter one, and I gave it to them, and they really liked it. However, unfortunately, I wasn't the winner, but I was like second in place. So they told me if I actually finished a book idea and sent it to them,
Mm-hmm.
that they would actually, put it under consideration. But after finishing the book idea and getting everything down from my mind onto paper, I actually wanted to, self-publish and make this my own. So that's how I got into Christian Faith Publishing, which is the
Mm-hmm.
current distributor for the book.
Current publisher,
And
yes.
yes, yes. And then the title "A New Dawn" came from because how this book, begins. It's basically a dystopian future, but at the same time, it's almost as if the world is under a reset because of how how the characters came to be, and like how the struggles of the world just brought about almost the end of it. So it's called A New Dawn, as in a new beginning. Kind
New
of like
beginning.
it's very
Mm-hmm.
similar. I have a lot of biblical references in here too, very similar to Noah and how his story came to be, because it was basically almost a reset after the flood. So this disaster is almost, it kind of ties into that similarly.
Wow. You know what? One thing that I really like about you being a writer, Reginald, it's because again, it's not just about you sharing what you can do, sharing your talent, but it's also advocating a specific cause and agenda. Especially that this book was also, inspired on what's the current situation that we're going on right now, and also every creation that you did has really its purpose because again you mentioned earlier that you being a writer also wanted to let's say land on a job, and it's actually a good thing because everything has its really purpose. Now that being said earlier, Reginald, there are specific characters or protagonists, may I know if where the characters, let's say, inspired? Is it by anyone or anything?
So a lot of the characters are inspired from either my everyday interactions with people, or it's inspired by characters I've come to know through different stories, medias,
Mm,
such as like movies, shows, anime. And then Xander Williams, the main character of this book, he instills a lot of my beliefs and what I would do in situations. So a lot of me is like in that character, and then all the other characters that readers will be fortunate enough, to look at and view, they are also pieces of me and how I view the world, and how different personalities will respond to each other. Especially one of the supporting characters, his name is Burl. He's actually inspired off of a counselor I went to college with. His actual name is Burl. So,
mhm,
so that's how he came to be. He kind of inspired me to keep going through college even during tough
mhm.
times. And Burl is
Wow.
also has the qualities of my uncle Keith. Um, he's also tied into that character. So a lot of different personalities I've encountered throughout my life inspired a lot of these characters.
Wow, that's very interesting, Reginald, because again, one of the things that you're really, this book is really inspired by your own experience as well with the people who surrounds you. And I really like that. Now, I wanted to know, Reginald, by you writing this book, what was the impact of you writing this book for you and for your loved ones? Especially with the people whom you have the experience to help with, especially helping you throughout the tough times. Yes.
So it's kind of weird because I made this book because I see the problems happening today with the world. And me, my family, and friends, we always have discussions on how, you know, where the world is going and how it's ending up because of everything that's going on right now, violence, unemployment, stuff of that nature, hierarchies, not doing what they're supposed to do for, the little people, basically. And this book is basically like a direction where we're headed, and that's why I said in the dystopian future because it's a reflection on that. So one of my family members, another uncle who actually read it, he was amazed by it, and I was kind of nervous because it has a lot of military references in here, and he's actually been in the military. So I was hoping that I stayed true to that aspect of the story as well, the military aspect, and hoping
Mm-hmm.
that when he read it, it was realistic as possible. And he actually gave it 5 stars online. So that was uh,
Right.
that was very good. And some of the friends that have read this, they're actually surprised that I could come up with something like this because
Mm-hmm.
my regular personality every day, I'm very charismatic. I like to be goofy. I don't really like taking myself serious. So when they read this book, it's almost the opposite. So of my
Mm.
personality. So that they were very surprised.
Right. You know what? I love that we uncover some things, stories behind you writing this book, Reginald. And I know that things that you have shared earlier is what really makes the book, so interesting and captivating. Now, here, I wanted to know because this is also interesting because you actually have a soundtrack of this book, right?
Yes.
Okay, and they can have it. They can listen to it on every, I think, social media platform, YouTube. Yeah, can you
Yes.
tell them where is it
YouTube,
available?
Spotify,
Mm-hmm.
iTunes. Yeah, pretty much all the major publishers, and there's other platforms, if I'm not mistaken, that not everyone's heard about. Yeah, like Tidal, Deezer, stuff like that. They could
Mm-hmm.
listen through it to that. And how the soundtrack came about, it was just because I do, as I mentioned before, I do music, and for some reason, as I was writing, I was like, how cool would it be, to have a soundtrack while readers are going through the book, and I typed it out trying to see if any other author has done this, and very few have. And I think there
Mm-hmm.
was one author he made a soundtrack for his book. It turned into a movie, and the movie actually ended up using the soundtrack that he made for that book. I wish I could think of the author's name right now. I'm pretty sure he was he was well known, but yeah, if I could go back
Mm-hmm.
and think about it. So and in an ever growing uh, publishing world of different books, especially science fiction, I needed some way to stand out. So I feel like the soundtrack was very, very captivating and a very good
Right.
option for that. So
Mm-hmm. Yes, and you're actually doing it. And you know what? To be honest as well, Reginald, I think you're actually the first author who I have encountered that, writing a book and there's actually a soundtrack together with it. It's really a good combination because, again, it's somehow one of the things that would really makes the viewers, readers to be interested more about you being an author, not just about your story, not just about the book, but who you are as an author as well.
yes.
Right. Now, Reginald, I wanted to, because you being an author starting at a really young age, I wanted to have you have this platform for you or take this opportunity, let's say in your own words. How do you think writing this kind of books, let's say, empowers individuals, especially to aspiring authors out there, to, let's say, really have that courage in sharing their experiences in writing?
I will say, even the classes I'm taking now, there are a lot of authors, a lot of writers that are just scared to do it
Mm-hmm.
because, as you know, the world we live in a very it's sad to say, but it's a selfish world, and there's a lot of people that will take advantage of authors and
Mm-hmm.
how they portray themselves throughout this industry. And writing your first book, there's a lot of people that's going to try to take advantage of that hard work, saying you need to pay for this, pay for that, even take advantage of royalties in that way. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been seeing a lot of that. But I would say to those writers, if you have an idea, just finish it. Finish the idea. That's the first hurdle. I think that's the most difficult hurdle, actually, is finishing
Mm-hmm.
the idea. And when you finish the idea, when you write everything out, that's when you can figure out the details and specifics of how
Mm-hmm.
everything else is going to be. But finishing it, having the motivation to finish it, having the discipline to finish it, that's something I also struggled with because when I first did this story for that publishing company, I didn't think
Mm-hmm.
anything was going to be of it. So I didn't work on it for a few months. But then a lot of things was happening in my life. I went back because I couldn't find a job during that pandemic. I actually went back to grocery retail, and that was actually my first job as a teenager. And I remember swearing on myself. I'm just like, I'm going to college, so I don't have to
Mm-hmm.
work this type of job for the rest of my
Mm-hmm.
life. And during COVID, when I ended up having to go back, that's when I really got the motivation. I'm just like, you know what? I vowed that this would not happen, and it did happen, and I need to get myself out of it some way, somehow again. So that same year that I pitched the idea to that publishing company is the same year I finished, and I think it was like October or something like that, if I'm not mistaken, of that year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was definitely a big step. And when I finally did finish it, this is all to all writers too. It's like a huge weight just lifts off your shoulders because you got an idea in your head and you finally put it on paper, no matter what form it is. Writing it out is just it's done. So it's a
Right.
very big accomplishment, even if it doesn't go anywhere. That's an accomplishment in itself that it's done.
Right, right. And here, that being said, Reginald, it's very full of inspiration as well. What about the advice to someone, let's say, who would also wanted to be a writer, to be a storyteller, just like you?
I would say no matter what comes your way, if it's your passion, and you'll know if it's your passion because you can't stop doing it, or even if you
Right.
stop doing it, you can't stop thinking about it. And I would say to those writers, like again, just keep going. No matter what happens in your life, just keep going. That's the most important thing. Don't stop.
Thank you so much for that, Reginald. And it was really an interesting discussion. We're very thankful for also you choosing Reader's Magnet to be part of this journey towards you, of course, reaching your goal as an author, and of course, sharing your story to among as many people as possible. So, yes, everyone, Mr. Reginald Anda, author of the book A New Dawn. And again, his book is available in Amazon.com, Barnes& and Noble, and of course, his website that is www.reginaldanda.live. And yes, you may also follow him on all the social media platform he has. So again, thank you so much, Reginald, and as Swizzy 8 here in Reader's Magnet, we share your story with the world. Thank you
Thank you
so
for having me.
much. Bye now. You take care.